Thank you for joining us at xm.com for this special report video. I'm Christina Marujos. Joining me today is Marios Hadjikyriacos, investment analyst, and of course we'll be having a look at the U.S. tariff decision. Now, we're days away from December 15th. It's the day that the next set of tariffs are to be imposed by the U.S. on China. However, as that day approaches, it appears that markets are even more convinced that President Trump will postpone those tariffs. What is the likely scenario, in your opinion?
Well, the likely scenario is that he will postpone those tariffs, right? There's very good reason why the market has gotten to that conclusion. Now, that reason, the main one rather, is the nature of these goods that will be hit by tariffs. Now, unlike the previous rounds of tariffs, now we will be targeting core consumer products, so laptops, phones, TV monitors, clothing, toys, and so on. Now, there's very good reason why all of these products escape the tariffs in the first place so far. If you do raise these prices, you would be hitting the US consumer and US businesses pretty hard. Now, that's especially important because there's an election coming up in the US next year. So if you're Trump, the last thing you want to do is to hit the consumer, weaken the economy as you're heading towards an election. A weak economy definitely doesn't help US presidents get re-elected. Now, at the same time, I think that he needs a victory to present to the electorate. So I've been tough on China, we've been through these negotiations, but I have something to show for it. Here's a deal, a phase one deal that I've negotiated. Especially, he needs a victory, especially with farming communities in key battleground states. Now, these communities were central for his initial election, and they've really been hurting by the fact that China stopped buying agricultural products. So if he gets China to resume its purchases, that would be a big boost for him, I would say. Now, everything argues for Trump to postpone this tariff, all the logical arguments. But this is Trump we're talking about. I think that there's always a chance that he surprises, exert maximum pressure on China. If the economy weakens, the Fed could cut rates, I could give more subsidies to our farmers. There's always a wild card, I would say, with Trump. So I would say that roughly there might be even a 20% probability that he decides to surprise the market and go ahead with these tariffs at the end.
But now, looking beyond the U.S. economy, how would postponing those tariffs affect global markets?
It would definitely lead to a risk-on atmosphere. So risky assets like stocks, commodity currencies like the Aussie, the Canadian dollar could benefit, while safe havens like the yen and gold could lose out. But what's important to note here is that the market already expects these tariffs to be postponed. So if they are postponed, we might see a risk-on reaction and we might see the markets rallying, but I think that reaction would be relatively modest in magnitude. Now, on the other hand, if he does go ahead with the tariffs, that would be a surprise, and therefore the downside in the markets might be much more severe, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's look at the bigger picture here, because let's say we do get a phase one deal signed. What happens next, given that the fact that the two sides, US and China, are worlds apart on very complex, let's say, issues like intellectual property protection?
In a nutshell, I think nothing happens next. The two sides have spent 2 months now trying to sort out the most simple of issues: how quickly tariffs will be rolled back and how many agricultural goods China will buy per year. And we still haven't gotten to a consensus on that. So if we can sort out, if it's taking this long to iron out the simplest of issues, I just don't see any real progress being made in phase two, let's say, in the coming months, at least on this side of the US election.
I see. Marios, thank you for joining me and for your very interesting insights. We'll be on the lookout for any developments. Thank you for watching the special report video here at xm.com.